So I'm going to show you how to do a lot of different stuff in this video, but most importantly, I'm going to show you how you can automatically get rid of EXIF data and metadata from all the files that you have on your computer or on a server. So I should probably explain what EXIF data actually is. So whenever you have a picture or a movie or whatever, it's not just, the data that is in the picture itself that gets included in the file. It's a lot of other stuff such as encoding data, the date that it was taken, the location that it was taken, and various other stuff like what type of camera you use exactly, that gets included in it. And so what this means is that there's a rake of other data that you don't necessarily notice, but can be used by social media sites and various other services that you use, just gain better insight into your behavior and so that. So for example, if I wanted a social media platform and I wanted to purge it of all the people with bad taste, I could just make it slightly less usable for people who take photos with their iPhone. So usual stuff. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is show you how you can actually get rid of some of this metadata, or the bulk of it anyway. For those of you who are unfamiliar, there's a command line interface tool called exiftools. That's what I just did there. So it allows you to not only see the EXIF data in your files, but it can also make you get rid of it. Now, I'm not going to do this now because I think this is being saved at the moment. So yeah, I wrote a small little script that essentially just looks through a load of files in a certain directory. In this case, I'm passing it in through a directory itself, and it just pipes it into this exiftools thing. It's literally just one line of code, and what it does is it gets rid of all of the original metadata. It gets rid of all the metadata and replaces the original file with this new file. Really not too good, not too difficult at all. So when I want to run this, it's just I pass in, say, I don't know, next cloud data, pictures, whatever, whatever the file is. And what it does is it'll automatically go through all the files and remove all this data. Now, that was handy if you have like a load of pictures or, documents that you want to get rid of on a daily basis. But you see, in a previous video, I talked about how you can set up your own cloud server with your own instances such as Nextcloud and email server and stuff like that. And so what I wanted to do was create a service that will automatically check to see if a file is added to this server. And when it does that, it'll just automatically get rid of all the EXIF data for me. So I don't have to worry about, say, if I have a phone and I'm uploading photos, like, I can't necessarily run this script locally. But what it'll do is on the server, it'll just detect that the files have been created. It'll get rid of the EXIF data, so I don't have to worry about it. So if I want to share this on social media or like send it to someone, I won't have to worry about, any of this data being used by anything else. And so what I did was, I'm just going to go into my server now. So what I do is I created this GitHub page, which just has that original script, and it has a additional, do I have this downloaded? I don't. All right. So I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. So first off, you could just clone this GitHub Glanfile. And so in this is the original remove bulk data, which just goes through all the files. But there's also this second script, which basically just checks if a file has been created in a certain directory. So it uses this inotify wait CLI tool. So I should probably just mention that before. You need to download two dependencies before you start this up. So this exiftools is just going to be used for actually getting rid of the EXIF data, and this inotify tools, which is going to be used for checking if a file gets modified. So in this case, I have a certain directory where all of my pictures and documents get uploaded onto the server. And what it's going to do is it's going to monitor to see if a new file gets created. It's going to wait 10 seconds, and then when it is ready, it's just got to run this original script that I had before. The reason I added in the 10 seconds was because, say if you're uploading 4 or 5 files, it'll just automatically run before all the files get uploaded. And so it's just a bit of a pain. So that's what I got to do. But what I wanted to do was set up a SystemD service that will automatically run this in the background. So that's what this file service thing is. This is just a systemd service file. And so what it does is it starts this monitor EXIF data. And what this does is it runs in the background, just like any other service, like SSH daemon or whatever. And yeah, you don't have to worry about it. You just set it up, you pass in a specific directory that you want, and then it should be good to go. So I'm just going to edit this now. Oh yeah, so sorry, this is already set up for my actual directory. I should probably change that in the actual GitHub before. So just check this one. Okay, yeah, so that passes it in as an argument. That should be good then. Yeah, okay, that's good to go. So what I'm going to do is, again, just run these commands that I have in my GitHub repository where I'm just copying these to the users as locals as bin. Need to be root. Sorry about this. I can't spell today. Okay, I'm just going to run these other commands. And again, just copying them to the user, the local. And I'm going to copy in the systemd file as well. Okay, so I'm just going to check to see that everything's okay. Yeah, they're both there. And yeah, that's okay. So when you create a new systemd service file, and if you're not familiar with what systemd is, it's just the process manager. Well, I mean, systemd is a bit more than that nowadays. It does a lot of random stuff, like I think it keeps track of time and it just interacts with a lot of different stuff in your service. But mainly what it's doing is it's handling all these processes and these low-level services in the background. So think of stuff like, daemons, keeping track of time, stuff like that with things. So yeah, I'm going to need to do a few things. Now I'm going to need to be sudo for this as well. I'm going to reload the systemd daemon. I'm going to enable this service. So what this does is it just makes sure that when the server reboots that, this server starts as well. And I'm going to start this as well. I'm going to start the service. And I'm just going to check to see that this is started. Status, Glanfile. All right, so is there any errors? No. Okay, so it says watching established. So what it's doing right now is, whoa, what the fuck is going on? Sorry. Yeah, so it's just watching to see if any files got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload a picture onto this server from my phone. You won't be able to see this, but I'll just show you in a second. Okay, so I uploaded the picture, and for whatever reason, two other files were updated as well. Probably just old files that had some EXIF data that didn't get caught in the last one. So again, this is showing actually some of the limitations of it. So the EXIF data tool doesn't get rid of it doesn't work on every single type of file. So the docx, which is just a, like a typical Windows Office document, and PDFs for some reason have some limitations. This is just, my password manager file. So some files aren't going to be caught with it, and rightfully so. Like not every file needs to get rid of this data, like the password manager file, for example. But yeah, what it's doing is it's checking to see if files get added to this specific folder, which is my Nextcloud instance. And when it does, it basically just gets rid of all the EXIF data of all the files in that folder. So this is just a really handy way that you can run this on a computer as well. You don't need to actually run this on a server. Although if you are interested in doing that, I suggest you check out my previous video where I talked about how to set up a private cloud server. But yeah, you could technically run a systemd service from your computer, and it shouldn't have much issues. If you do that, please let me know. I would be interested in how it worked. But one thing I wanted to make sure was that this actual file itself, this remove bulk data script, this could be used on your data normally without even having to start the service. So before I even started this, I had a load of pictures, and I didn't want to have to wait for the next time I uploaded the picture for this script to run. So I just ran this file on my entire folder of pictures, so I didn't have to worry about that. And so that's the good thing about this. You can use this as just a general CLI instead of having to run this as a service every single time. But it's just a handy little way that you can automatically get rid of all this data. So whenever you do upload these pictures onto another social media site or share them with people, you won't have to worry about them looking through EXIF data, trying to, gain better insight into user behavior. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. The GitHub will be down below if you want to check it out, if you want to set it up. If you do have any other issues, please let me know. And until then, I'll see you next time.